So let's talk about social media. I want to show you 5 new ways to turn followers into dollars. And I hate using that term, but listen, if you're going to use social media, it's got to produce results in your business. So let me show you how to do that. Hey, what's going on? Yuri here from Healthpreneur. Hope you're having a great day. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 new ideas to help you get more bang for your buck out of what you're doing on social media. If you're watching this, you're most likely a health expert who is growing their business and using the internet to do so. And unless you've been living under a rock, there's this really cool thing called the internet and social media, which allows us to share our message and reach more people. The challenge, though, is that if it's not done the right way, it ends up becoming a massive waste of time. So what I want to share with you in this video are a few ways that we've used in our business at Healthpreneur and what we've helped our clients achieve in their businesses by using social media in a much smarter way than just posting randomly on Facebook, Instagram, etc. Now, before I go any further, I do want to mention that by no means am I the overlord when it comes to social media. We have a relatively small following. However, when I say relative, I mean, compared to the Tony Robbinses of the world. However, what's most important is that from our relatively small following of a few thousand people, we've been able to turn a lot of those into high-paying clients. And if that's something you like for your business, then I'm going to show you some of our secret sauce right here. So the challenge, first and foremost, on social media that we have to recognize is this thing right here that I just drew on the screen, which is, we'll just call these eyeballs. Those are supposed to be eyeballs, okay? And so essentially, what Facebook has now told us is that fewer than 2% of your followers are going to see anything you post. Back in 2015, it was close to 20%, and now it's a lot lower. So what does that mean? It means that if you post stuff on social media, well, there needs to be a rhyme or reason to what you're doing. I'm going to show you what we're doing on Facebook. I'm also going to show you some stuff we're doing on LinkedIn, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas about how you can improve engagement. So the biggest mistake that I see on social media, and this is the mistake that I made for years, was I just thought I could just post content. Like it'd be like, here's a video, here's some helpful stuff, do it. And sadly, that doesn't work. So I want to give you 5 broad categories to think through, and then I'm going to walk you through. I'll show you examples of those in just a second. So first category we want to think of, and I believe this is the most important, is engage. How can we post stuff that's going to engage your followers or your friends, right? It doesn't matter how many you have. The most important thing is that they engage with you. The more people engage with you, the more Facebook and these social platforms are going to show your stuff to other people like them or more of your followers. If they don't engage, which means that they don't comment, they don't like, they don't share, your stuff is going to be, it's going to end up in the graveyard, right? And that's never a place that we want to end up, especially when we put, a lot of time and energy into posting stuff, and it's demoralizing, right? It's like, no one's seeing my stuff. Why am I even doing this? So the first thing is we want to engage. I'm going to show you some examples of this. Second broad category is polarize. Marketing should be more of what you believe than what you know. See, I used to be of the opinion that I'm just going to share everything I know. Content, and that definitely has its place. However, if it's all you do, then there's no affinity to you or your brand, right? When you share polarizing content, you start to really attract people towards you who agree with your stance and worldview. And that's super important in competitive spaces like health and wellness. The third broad category we call coach. And this is where you can think of the general how-to content, right? How to do push-ups, how to reduce back pain, etc. Then we have invite, if I can spell, there we go. Invite, which is where you're going to make maybe some more specific calls to action, right? And you'll notice that these, if we're looking at these, if we're keeping all of these relatively the same ratio, it's 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. So you can vary these ratios if you want to, but you definitely don't want to have calls to action and invitations to work with you or do your stuff all the time, because that's not what social media is for. And you'll see those posts will have the lowest engagement. And I'll show you some examples in just a second. And then finally is inspire. Everyone loves to be inspired. And I think if you're in the health space, part of our job is to inspire people, to show them a bigger version of themselves, a better future, show acts of courage, case studies where people have done amazing things, etc. So these are the 5 lenses through which you want to share content in different ways on social media. I have another video that walks you through how to use this to create 30 days worth of social content. And we'll be sure to link to that either in this video or below it. And it'll give you a bit more of a detailed breakdown of what some of this can look like. But here, what I'd like to do now is I'd like to actually turn over to my Facebook feed. So this is my personal profile. It's not my business page, or it's just my personal profile. And I want to show you how I've used some of this stuff and how you might be able to use it as well. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. There we go. So here's an example of an engaged post. So reading 2 to 3 books per week right now, what's a must read for leadership, culture, business development, or higher level thinking you would recommend? So you can see here we have 46 comments. And that's important because if you look at the previous one, I just shared a random post with my son Arlo and the Tooth Fairy. It got 1 comment, 15 engagements. This one got 14 engagements and 46 comments. When we look at the weight of engagement, comments and shares have a higher value compared to like a thumbs up, right? So just keep that in mind. So this is an example where I'm asking people to engage with my thing. Hey, this is not rocket science. Like, just ask your audience to answer a question. That's the simplest way to get them engaged. Now, here's the thing though. Here's the nuance, is do not ask people questions that will lower their status in the tribe. Here's what I mean by that. If you ask someone what they're struggling with right now, publicly, most people are not going to share that. It lowers their status in the tribe. If, in this case, what's a book you would recommend, by recommending that book, it elevates their status. And now they more happily share that, because if people are reading books, they make the association of like, hey, I'm reading books. I'm going to add value here, and that's going to raise my status in the tribe. The other cool thing about this type of post is that when you look at the comments, you now have a list of really helpful resources. Like if you didn't know what these books were, like now you have a whole list of books to go and read. So it's in and of itself super helpful. So that's an example of an engaged post. So here's an example of an invite post. So this is when we were bringing our health practice accelerator coaching program to market. And we just said, hey, it's coming. And, a couple likes, whatever, a couple comments, nothing huge. But again, not a huge amount of engagements, right? So if I were to do this all the time, it's not really going to do much for our business, or at least for our engagements. So here's another one. What are your thoughts on this whole COVID situation? Obviously, that's very specifically designed to build engagement. 81 comments, right? Obviously, it's a slightly polarizing / engaging post, not in my sharing of it, but in maybe some of the comments and what people would say about it. So here's an example. When I talked about asking a question that raises someone's status in the tribe, here's an example of one that does not. So I said, practitioners, what's the number one objection you get when presenting your services to prospective new patients? All right, so one person responded here. So the reason more people didn't respond is because most people are not going to publicly share what is not working for them. And that's an example of maybe why this post didn't do very well. Let's look at another post that did fairly well. So you'll see and I just went on a bit of a journey here with some videos. These were posted as lives, I believe, or some of them were, some of them weren't. They did okay, nothing crazy. Again, here's an update. So this is kind of like a invite. When I say invite, I mean sometimes it can be a sneak peek behind like what you're working on. So new website, revamped, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's like, oh, something cool, looks good. 8 comments, 27 shares, or sorry, not 27 shares, 27 thumbs up and stuff. Here's another example, right? So here's what's coming up for our mastermind. A bunch of these trainings, everyone's like, man, whatever, cool, no big deal. No engagements. This one's a little bit better, okay? So Peloton versus WinBike. Which one do you recommend? Like, do you have a preference? And now it naturally engages people in the comment thread. So listen, this is not rocket science. This one here is an example of Polarize, all right? So what I say, what I mean by Polarize is I share a post about driving a McLaren 570S, right? Like, it's an amazing car. And it's polarizing because some people might be like, hey man, you're so cool driving a supercar or whatever. But the reality is I said, listen, I remember the days when when $200 for dinner was like a stretch. And now, like, it's amazing to see the progress that, I've been able to make in business and so forth and helping so many people. And I'm just kind of sharing, like, the fact that we're here to contribute. We don't have to hold back. We should be able to enjoy the fruits of life. And so it's a polarizing piece in the sense that I'm sharing what I believe to be true. And, naturally, some people agree with it, some people don't. But the majority were like, look at this, 113 thumbs up or whatever, 48 comments. And I finished this post by saying, what do you do for fun? So I finished this I started with a polarize and I finished with an engage, right? So you might be watching this and saying, man, this is super basic. But listen, simple things are simple to do, but they're also simple not to do. So I'm going to give you an example of what we're doing on LinkedIn to show you how some of this is also working on LinkedIn. So let me go to my profile. And if I can find, where are we here? LinkedIn is not super intuitive. I apologize for the delay here. This is hilarious. I can't even find my own stuff. All right, post an activity. All right, let's just do this. Okay. All right, so on LinkedIn, it's a little bit of a different animal, but the whole idea is the same. What can we do to engage our audience? So for instance, we put out a lot of free resources and things that people can access. So for instance, here's one. Do you know where your web traffic is coming from? Get this free traffic source reporting template to find out. And we're basically saying, if you'd like a copy, leave me a comment and I'll send it to you as soon as possible. So we had 21 comments, right? This one down here, where are we here? So 100 plus lead generation and management tools for health practitioners. If you want one, drop me a comment below. So 20 comments, 1,305 views. This one here, for anybody who hasn't received a link for this previously posted resource, 27 comments, just over 2,700 views. And then we can see that some of these are performing better than others in terms of the amount of engagements or comments they're getting. Let's see what else has worked well here. So you can see a lot of these are, what some people call lead magnets. We're just giving them away for free for getting people to engage in the comments. And the reason that's important is because, again, if they engage in the comments, that improves our viewability on LinkedIn. And it's also just a really great amount of goodwill that we're giving to our marketplace. Again, here's another one for anyone who hadn't received the list of 500 plus sites and resources for healthpreneurs. This one here had 59 comments, 7,000 views. And this is a lot of what we're doing on LinkedIn and social media. So the reason I'm sharing this with you here, and hopefully this has been helpful for you, is to think about what you do on social media as, number one, adding a tremendous amount of goodwill. Number two is you have to think about engaging people. You have to get people to comment and share and like your stuff, because if they do, that's awesome. If they don't, it's not going to help your videos or your content in general. So that's the deal. And if you like this kind of stuff, and if you want a smarter way to create social media content that engages your audience, that pulls them into your business, that is more likely going to position you as their choice when they're thinking of who should I work with? I've got back pain, or I've got this, this health issue. Who should I turn to? They're most likely going to think of you because you're present and you're adding goodwill. So if that's something you like, and you'd like to come up with a month's worth of social media content in a day, not even in a day, in 1 hour, then we have a great tool that I alluded to earlier called the Social Authority Amplifier. If you'd like a free copy of it, click the link below this video. It'll take you over to a page where you can simply access the tool for free, no strings attached. My gift to you for staying here and watching this, and obviously I think it'll really help you out in your business. This is something that we share with some of our highest level clients. It's a simple tool, but I promise you it's amazingly effective when you use this over time. So go ahead, click the link, grab yours today, and remember, if you like this video, remember to subscribe to the channel because I've got tons more content to help you build a more successful health business, successful health practice, using smarter marketing so you can work smarter, not harder. And there we go. So thanks so much for your attention. Thank you for tuning in. Yuri Elkaim tuning out, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.